Okay, we are live on the Mobile Mailbox Money Mastermind here today, the live deal flow family bank here, inviting you to participate in the passive note investment strategy in affordable housing, mimicking a Warren Buffett investment strategy. Today's brought to you by Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, our accredited 506c fund, a debt fund currently offering a 10% return for a 1-year term, 12% return for a 3-year lockup, or a 14% return for 5 years. I'm here today with my cohorts, James and Sunny. James, I'll just let you kind of introduce yourself and tell people why this is an opportunity here today.
You know, we put on this mastermind meeting to the benefit of other investors. Currently, we are a free specific program providing valued information for note investors, people that want to, purchase manufactured home notes or purchase notes that are secured by lien. This is a really important topic because over the past years, a lot of people have gone through an education platform and paid a tremendous amount of capital to learn how to invest in manufactured home notes and single-family home notes. With the capital that they have available in today's market, especially, they normally were trained to buy into the Midwest market like Indianapolis and Chicago, those Midwest markets, and Houston, Texas, where you could buy cheap loans or cheap notes from people at $40,000 to $50,000, turning 8% returns. And now those markets, because Blackstone came in and bought up the country, now those notes are $250,000, $300,000 and north of that on price. So we focus in distressed housing, which is the last place for low-cost housing. We focus on low-cost housing, which is the last place on low-cost housing is manufactured homes and parks. And the benefit to that is the note investor, number one, they get a secured note on a specific property backed by actually a double qualification, which I was talking about before. They have to get qualified twice. Number one, they get qualified with the park, and I'll let Sunny give the details of that park qualification needs.
I'm Sunny Finkel. I'm the investor relations specialist for Mobile Mailbox Money. I also do loan compliance coordinating for Windmill Homes. And I am able to assist you anytime with looking at some due diligence, looking at an offer that we have available that you might want to invest in. You can ask me questions. I answer the chat on our website if you would like to speak to me there, or you're welcome to call me directly. And to answer your question, James, the benefit of investing with us is that all of our borrowers are double qualified. They have to be approved by the park first, and they go through a process of, do they have any evictions? Do they have any open bankruptcies? Do they have any charge-offs on their credit related to anything that has to do with housing? Do they make at least double take home what their payment is going to be? What's their debt to income ratio? What's their credit score look like? And then once they get to our company, then Mobile Mailbox Money is NMLS certified, the National Mortgage Lending Service. And the standard of qualification for them is a lot of the same requirements. So we do check them again. And then we include what's called an ATR score, which stands for ability to repay. So the third-party underwriter that we use assigns a score to the borrower to make sure that they are qualified to be able to purchase one of our properties and use our financing. So we double vet our borrowers, and that is what leads to us having only a 2% default rate.
So as we talk about that, it really, I look at this as a business model if I'm a note investor, or really if I'm a real estate investor. Most real estate investors really don't want to go through the evaluation to buy a property, rehab the property. You see the fix and flips that are on TV. A lot of them aren't legitimate real company business models. They're made for TV because it's really hard to make a profit, especially in today's market where pricing is going down. I mean, you look at certain markets, like take Florida as an example. they're in a significant downswing in regards to values of property. And so how do you combat that? So most people don't want to buy. They want to invest in real estate. Real estate is one of the many buckets of investment strategies that people do. They may invest in the stock market or something as a long-term, low interest, any type of program like that, or they'll invest in real estate. They may even invest in crypto, which crypto is getting beaten down severely right now. But a secure note that we actually provide is manufactured homes, which is low-cost housing, because most people can't afford to purchase a single-family home in today's market, especially in the Arizona market. I don't know where people are from that are actually on here, but in Arizona right now it's 77 degrees. The weather's amazing. We're in the middle of the Phoenix Open that's this week, and there's a tremendous amount of people that are in town enjoying the Arizona weather. That's what brings people down, and for them to say, I like it down here visiting, I think I'm just going to stay. So there's huge opportunity in this market. We happen to live here and work here, and the demand for this market, this low-cost housing, is probably 4 times the volume of what we can even provide right now. So we're just really barely even touching the surface of the opportunity. At the same time, the stabilization of manufactured home parks, they've all become institutional, like probably 95, 96, 97% of the mobile home parks that are the parks that we actually go after. Almost every one of them are long-term institutional holds. Their main goal is to collect their lot rent. That's their main point. So we work directly with the institutions. We've been marketing to them directly to the corporate side for probably about 8 years and have created great relationships with those institutions to take their excess inventory, rehabilitate those properties, and then make them available for sale, also with financing. That's where the rubber meets the road for a long-term note investor. You have the ability to not only invest with us in our construction loan program, which gives you the first right of refusal for the long-term note, or you could just wait and see what long-term notes actually come out, because those are ones that are all done where the house is completely turnkey, ready to go, and we've already got a qualified buyer. And then you have the ability to step in, depending on the availability of the note, and actually purchase it and capitalize on the long term, which we have it serviced third party through a classic third party servicing based company. So we're pretty excited about to offer that in different facets as we go through each week. We kind of cover different specific items within the opportunities. Today, I think we're gonna be showing some information on one of the newest notes that's coming in. That'll be first a construction note, because we're doing the acquisition. So we normally look to bring in capital for the acquisition of that property. And then once we rehabilitate it and have it for sale and ultimately sell it, we first give the first right of refusal to the person that provided the construction loan. We give them the first option. At the end of the day, they get that first right of refusal, which is pretty cool because they actually can control the deal and make a decision if they want to take it long-term or move their money over to another construction note. Maybe they don't want to take it long-term. So we have a couple of different options. We actually have 2 options that are running across.
So not only stabilized, performing seller finance notes, but also some short-term private lending component, right? At a double-digit interest rate, wide variety of opportunity that we'll go over today. We'll get into some case specifics and even open it up for due diligence questions. So James, appreciate you kind of giving a little synopsis, a little house cleaning. You're looking at the main corporate sponsor for Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. ASREA, Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, actually has their main monthly meeting coming up here on Monday. And if I can do this correctly, that can be found on their website. I actually included the link within the chat. That's at venue 8600 at 5:15 on Monday, day after the Super Bowl. Feel free to go enjoy yourself this weekend, but get back on track on Monday. Come meet us at the event and explore the various utility provided within that meeting and rub shoulders with upwards of 200 other business professionals. They have other training and things of that nature. but a great place to meet and touch, feel, and taste what's going on in the market. Tina Tambor gives the Cromford report, so she'll tell you a little bit more about the health and of Arizona real estate. Also coming up here in February 24th through the 27th, Gerasi Law Firm. We actually had them on our channel last week on the Mastermind, and Brandwin, their chief marketing officer, detailed why you should attend this event. We'll be there as well with our cameras, our booth, and notes immediately available, as well as, kind of answering questions and just enjoying the Vegas environment. Good to get out of town for once. But I'm Alden Guajardo. I'm president of Silvercrest Opportunity Fund, vice president of Mobile Mailbox Money. Win Mobile Homes, we're the largest dealer of manufactured housing in Arizona, license 8670. I have my cohort, Sean, who actually logged on as well. I wanted Sean to kind of introduce himself and let people know that he's here to help.
Absolutely. Can you hear me and see me? I'm sorry, I'm driving. I'm actually in the field right now, but yes. This is Sean Gibson with Win Mobile Homes and Mobile Mailbox Money. I want to introduce myself to you. I've been with the company about 3 years, kind of a jack of all trades. Love meeting with investors, love raising capital. Really love what we do here. We've got a dynamic team. So to let everybody know, before I joined the team, I was actually an investor. So I put my money where my mouth is. I think I bought 4 or 5 notes from James and Alden here back in the day. Returns are great. So you know what? I need to not be an investor. I need to jump on and help other investors. So that's kind of my story. And hey, like I say, buy notes.
Appreciate you introducing yourself, Sean. People do business with the individuals they know, like, and trust. And how do we establish more transparency and trust out in the market? And that's why we come on these meetings here. My objective today really is to do $1 million in transactions with the deal flow that we have and the trust and adjacent branding we have with one of the largest private lending law firms in the nation, Gerasi Law Firm, headed to their event, and Azria, as well as I failed to mention, we're actually a chapter member of Business Network International. Business Network International is the largest referral networking group in the world, actually, and we're the largest subchapter in Arizona. There was a statistic that was put out the other day that in 10 years, the BNI connectors have done $83 million in thank you for closed business. In our 4 years of being the manufactured home dealer and note specialist in manufactured housing in our BNI Connectors chapter, we've gotten upwards of $3 million in transactions from home purchases, home sales, note originations, and private placements. And we meet every week at Orange Tree Golf Course here in Scottsdale, Arizona at 11:15 on Wednesdays. And that's an open invite for other business professionals that may be in the area, just wanting to check out the room or maybe grow their own business. But all areas of opportunity for you to come and rub shoulders with other seasoned investors and individuals operating successfully here in the Arizona and national markets. So we'll get kind of kick the meeting off here. So let me reorient my screen and we'll just kind of jump in. This is the live deal flow section of our meeting here on the Mobile Mailbox Money Mastermind. And these are first come, first serve components. James Guajardo has a little bit more intimate knowledge of this home that we actually just acquired, and it's in a park that we have done some business in already. So we've flipped, I think, 4 properties. We know the owners of the park now. So James, maybe if you could just add a little color here about lot 72 Winter Cove.
I'm unmuting right now. Give me 2 seconds here. I can't get my video screen back up, but yeah, so Winter Cove is a unique opportunity, and the primary focus on Winter Cove, or the benefit of Winter Cove, is that number one, the big benefit, it's a 1995, so it's a newer manufactured home that needs to be remodeled. Number two is it happens to be one of the few parks that is still at a very reasonable rate. I think their rate is about $650 a month. All the neighboring parks are anywhere from $950 to $1,000 or $1,100 a month for all age parks. So we've been working with this park, and we have first right of refusal from them on any inventory that they have coming in that they agree to sell back out to the market. So we have a almost standing purchase with them. This property is actually in pretty good condition, but it's going to require a full makeover within it. We think the future sale is going to be about $85,000, and we're probably looking for somewhere around $60,000 as a construction loan. And then ultimately, the construction loan holder will have first right of refusal on the future sale. And that's kind of the summary. It's one of the newer homes. You have to remember, most of the mobile home parks were built in the mid-70s. So anything that is 1990, really even in the 80s or newer, gets snapped up pretty quick by the secondary market for remodel and make available to the consumer. So we're pretty excited about this one, primarily for the low lot rent. That's the big win of it all.
So what's the opportunity for a private lender actually sitting on the call today? At $60,000, you get in exchange for a first lien position on this property at below 70% after rehab value. At $60,000 for a 1-year term, that's $500 a month. We drafted at a year just out of convenience, so we may not have to tap you possibly, but our objective is to buy, rehab, and exit this property within 3 to 6 months. And if it takes a little bit longer, we have that built into our risk mitigation in order to take the brunt of a longer sale like that. But at $60,500 a month, and when we sell this property, you either get paid off or you walk into the golden nugget of a performing seller finance note. Those notes come at double-digit yield. James, what was the end price of that property that we'll be asking?
Depending on how it finishes out, I think it can be anywhere from 85 to 90, 95,000. It'll be just under 100,000.
So say it's $90,000, right? We exit at 90,000 on this property you see before us, and the buyer borrower will likely put down a 10% down payment, $90,000, $9,000 down payment potential for 20 years. That payment goes from a construction loan, right, to a seller finance note. The unpaid balance would be $81,000. So you would come up between the difference from 60,000 to 81. You would fund an additional 21,000, and you would buy that note and make $1,000 a month for a 20-year term. Unpaid balance 81,000, 20-year term, $1,007 a month. Homes and notes just like that get absorbed into my fund, and when they do, over the 20-year term, the total interest earned is $160,000 with no banks, and we perform in first lien collateral position. So whether you buy this whole note and you re-leverage like another seasoned investor, Rodney Madison, with your relationships out raising capital, provides a vehicle in order to do so, or we hypothecate, which means to pledge an asset in order to garnish capital investment at the unpaid balance, give you a 1-year term, a double-digit yield, and we back the note as Win Mobile Homes in case of non-performance. So those are just a few kind of case-specific scenarios of a property just like this here in the Mesa market. Winter Cove's that northwest Mesa, so a desirable area, low lot rent. That home should go very quickly. We also talked last week about Desert Dawn, and Sonny knows a little bit about this property, could probably provide some intimate details, but this is now a performing rental. This includes the land. So I made a Facebook post actually earlier about how we have first, seconds, and firsts on real property transactions, as well as seconds on real property, and then the manufactured home notes that we have, providing a wide variety of diversification capability. But Sonny, Desert Dawn, what's the deal with Desert Dawn?
It is a great opportunity for someone who has a dog that's bigger than what a lot of the parks allow, 1, and 2, if they have multiple vehicles to park, it's good for borrowers that have that need. It's an over 6,000 square foot lot and a over 900 square foot home. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it has a long-term renter on a 5-year lease that is didn't quite qualify to take the note to purchase. So they're going to rent until they have the ability to qualify for the purchase.
So a performing rental that we will leverage with another private lender and provide them a first lien position on a performing piece of collateral. What was the balance, Sonny, that we're looking for our first lien position? I think it was 110, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that amount is $110,000.
So at 110,000 on a real property transaction, that includes the land, right? We'll give you a first lien, an investor loan backed by our performing rental for a 1-year term at $916 a month. And that's an interest only payment. So an amortization schedule is not needed on that transaction, providing a very transparent rate of return, reverse calculating on a regular calculator. And for us, we get to arbitrage what we borrow at and ultimately guarantee that position. Why? Because we own the asset. When Mobile Homes has title to that property, we never titled over because they're in a 5-year long-term rental for a home just like this actually seen before you. And I think we have a potential second lien. This property's worth $200,000 from what I remember, right? So we'll be looking for a second lien, providing another investor the availability to earn a little bit higher rate of return because it is a second, but that property is performing and the loan to value facilitates our transaction. And that's a $40,000 position, James?
Yeah, so think of it this way. The property would sell at about $200,000, and we haven't really talked so much about this, but really we could have a first lien position that would take 70% at 200 is 140. So we don't necessarily need a second lien position. We could break it up and have two different notes, a first lien at like 110 and a second lien at about somewhere around 30. Maybe we could take as much as 40,000 and pay a return because the property is performing very, very well. And it gives us that room and that ability. But that is a hot market because we don't come across a lot of manufactured homes, including land, that are less than $250,000-$300,000, and this happens to be so it's a unique opportunity.
And here's even some before photos that are in this. And I actually bought this from a contact in Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. So they needed someone to come to the table and actually do the transaction. So we bought it, looked at all the electrical and plumbing, made sure those were up to par, did new laminate flooring, painted inside and out. You got a great looking central AC and heat package in the back of the home, and even this little built out area within the home that goes back into almost like a hobby shed, as you see here. But great opportunity. Does anyone have any questions here or due diligence? We'll keep it pushing. We went over a bunch. Those were all.
Catherine had a quick question. Alden, if the rehab or exit takes longer than planned, what do we do? We have protections if we invest.
So
if it takes longer than normal.
If you say you take a construction loan, right, and it takes longer than normal, that's why we make a year program. So we drafted at a 1-year term just in case anything does end up coming up within that transaction, as well as our loan to value facilitates, additional margin of error. We have 15 in rehab, about 7 in sales, 5 in management, and the team you see before you, as well as I think 7 virtual assistants, all moving the business forward. We're not just note investors. We're the largest fix and flipper of manufactured housing possibly in the nation. So with stability in our branding and our previous flips within the area, we make our investors whole. You know, say the property were to sell for less than what we originally thought it was going to sell at, we'll end up just paying off the investor and take our chips and ultimately do more transactions at the end of the day. None of our investors have ever lost any money. That's important to preface. You know, there is risk in fix and flip at the end of the day, but we've always made people whole. Out of 350 transactions, $15 million in private capital raised, you know, that's should provide hopefully some additional safety and security for individuals watching here today. So let's see if I can get back to my screen. There we go.
Alden, while you're doing that, if someone has a question, I'd like to address one of the most popular questions that I get from investors. And that usually is something along the lines of, do you have non-performing notes? Do you have delinquency opportunities? And we don't, because we don't have that situation. It's important to know where our notes come from. We are NMLS certified, so we are able to generate institutional quality notes in-house, the same as your Bank of America or anyone else. So our notes are generated from properties that we sell. So they're generated at inception. So there is no performing or non-performing because it's a brand new at the time.
You know what?
That's a question I get a lot, if there's any confusion about that.
Well, you know, I think the layman hears manufactured housing and they think trailer trash and people that are going to stop paying their bills. The reality is we have, I think, like a 2% default rate. So out of every 100 that we do, we'll have 2 that will fall wayward, and we'll do our best to either, redraft their document, put an item on the back of the loan, a payment, do a loan modification is the term that I was looking for, and mitigate loss, or hopefully possibly even make additional return on investment on paper, depending on how we structure that transaction. With a 2% default rate, that doesn't leave a whole lot of non-performing resale notes and things of that nature. We've had non-performances, you know, and we've even made additional return on investment from repossessing a unit. Are we in the business of taking people's houses back? That's not the case by any means. We'll go at great lengths to preserve capital, but also keep people in their homes. You know, that's a nimble subject in itself. And for us, you know, we want the payment at the end of the day. So great topics right there. Lot 134, I bought this property on a vlog, VLOG, on YouTube, mobile mailbox money. I wish I had the vlog number on me, but I actually walked through this property, negotiated with the owner, purchased the home, and now it's actually pending sale. This property, let me just pull up my my notes here. Bear with me. It's in East Mesa, 55 and older community by the name of Cielo, Grande, lot number 134. This home is currently pending, and it's at a purchase price of $45,000. The buyer borrower will put an $8,000 down payment. So they're putting hefty skin in the game, and with their down payment on all of these, they'll still have an additional $2,000 they'll have to come out of pocket for taxes and insurance, right? Because we require an insurance policy as we finance this transaction. On an unpaid balance, $45,000 minus $8,000. Is $37,000. So you could acquire this note for $37,000 and make $460.10 for a 20-year term in first lien position with a double underwritten performing borrower. What does that mean? That means Jenny bought this property on seller finance. She's paying a convenience rate in order to do so and actually qualified through the park and through Dodd-Frank compliance. So at $460 a month with no banks, you cash flow in as little as a 30-day program with $37,000. This is literal gold out in the marketplace. We don't get very many lower price, unpaid balance, full consummated seller finance notes. Normally at 37, 40,000, that's more of a construction loan equation because manufactured homes are about $40,000 to $150,000 is our benchmarks. Really, the sweet spot is under 100, as most people don't have more than 10,000 down to put as a down payment when looking in manufactured housing. So is this a 3-2? No, it's a 2-2 with split bedrooms, corner lot. You got a side-by-side carport here, a pretty desirable central AC unit. We've gone through all of the electrical and plumbing as previously stated on every property. So at 37,000, you cash flow, what was it, $460 a month. We could pledge this note. We could absorb it in the fund. You know, my preface is to hold every note that we originate. Why do we even sell these notes? Because we go after more opportunity. So this is 9501 East Broadway Road in Mesa, and that's currently immediately available. I know that one will go quick, so don't hesitate to even raise your hand now or ask a question about that home. You know, to find a performing asset with a performing borrower at a higher than average return on investment annualized for $37,000 is virtually non-existent in the safest investment strategy in the nation. That's in first lien performing notes. So we'll move on.
And in a gated community with resort style amenities at that price point is amazing.
So that's a single wide in a 55 and older community. You know, we started in 55 and older 8 years ago, and out of 8 years, we've branched off into Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, Apache Junction. That property is right there off Ellsworth and Broadway, where we've done upwards of $5 million in transactions. So let's move on. We got this double wide lot 30 currently pending for sale, and at a 2-bed, 2-bath ground set. So this home is in a institutionally owned community by the name of Brentwood West, and Sun Communities is owned by Warren Buffett. So this park's pretty up there. They got grass walking features. They got fountains, indoor pool, jacuzzi, on-site management, you know, a lot of different amenities provided for the individuals that are buying this to live in it. So lot 30, you just get oriented here at $75,000 purchase price. This buyer borrower is putting a $4,000 down payment with $2,000 in closing fees, ample skin in the game at a 20-year amortization and a $71,000 unpaid balance. In 30 days, they'll start making payments of $882.90 a month. So that's over almost $9,000 a year in passive cash flow, leveraged in first lien position in a Warren Buffett community, in a Warren Buffett investment strategy. Most people don't know Warren Buffett owns Clayton and Cavco, two of the largest manufacturers of mobile homes in the nation, and as well as Sun Communities. And for all I know, he owns a warranty and insurance company because he's billing these people like 5 different ways on the same house. But to follow in those footsteps, even in his park, in a move to market, Mesa, Arizona, you know, weather's like, I'm looking out the door right now, it's like 75 degrees here. We got Waste Management, Phoenix Open going on in the background. But that's kind of a little bit of a detail about this property. It looks like they even have a built-out Arizona room here. So, you know, additional living square footage, not originally calculated as it's it's a additional on not the physical property. So they built out an Arizona room or sun room, some people call it. But at a double wide in the Mesa market, $71,000 at $882.90 a month. That property's being transacted hopefully here in the next week or two. So we'll be looking for funding for that. I mentioned in the beginning of this that we're looking for $1 million. So say Got another question here. Say thinking to start right this year or soon with 5 to 10 notes or more. Our group is everywhere. Does it really take more than 25 years to reach that? To reach the potential payments? We can get nimble. Why can we get nimble? Because we originate the note. So say someone like, most people that are not note investors don't want to hold an asset for a 20-year term. That's completely understandable. So in that same situation, say on lot 30 for $71,000, I pledge that note via hypothecation. I give you a first lien, and we can actually give you the lien position as we transact this home. So it'd be important to step up to the plate hopefully this week and get a little bit more communication about which entity you want to place on the lien position. So it could be yours. At $71,000 for a 1-year term, I lend at less than what I borrow at. So our rates are typically around 14 or 15%, and we look for funding at less. How do I participate in a transaction like that? So lot 30, 1-year term, I'll pledge a $71,000 lien position at a monthly payment of $591 a month for a 1-year term. Say you were able to ride that 3 to 5 years, right? So say a 3-year term, you could participate in a monthly distribution. 71,000 divided by 12 is $710 a month. So for 2 more years, you make another $200 a month almost. And in 3 years from now, say, hey, forget who that was. I think that was Catherine. Say, hey, Catherine, you've been receiving your monthly payments. Congratulations. Would you like to either auto rollover, go liquid? Maybe, you have a daughter going to college, or, have a big birthday coming up. Any of the areas of opportunity, providing liquidity to the transaction. How do I liquidate that transaction for someone that has leveraged their relationships and is thinking, oh, that guy may not be able to sell that position? It's a $71,000 asset. It's not a $500,000 single family property. And at that, the affordability of that asset, I can throw it up on our platform here, as you see here today, through mobile mailbox money, where we sell to other hedge funds, private investors, other groups, and IRA investors, solo 401k investors. And now the new executive order coming soon from Trump saying that individuals will have access to alternative investments in their conventional 401k, or I absorb that in my fund. So multi-exit strategy for us. I could pledge that note to another investor. I could sell it to a hedge fund, absorb it into my hedge fund. All areas of potential liquidity, providing further stability within the transaction.
This property also provides for an investor's 2 favorite words, instant equity. This property comes with comps that are well over 80,000. So at a $71,000 investment, it already has $10,000 worth of instant equity at inception.
Let's keep her pushing here. I'm going to bring on, I think, the most deals we brought on at one time within the mastermind. You're getting the full red carpet here today with due diligence questions and all of that. So please don't hesitate. Throw your questions in the chat. We've got the reactions of the thumbs up, the hearts going, a couple questions. So we'll just keep rolling here. This is a property I acquired through Roots Management. Roots Management owns, I think, 50 to 75 communities around the nation, and I have a great relationship with the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Mr. Daniel Rocho. I came across these properties because they had them listed at 120,000, I think it was, 110, and then like 80, and then they reduced them for a fire sale at 44,000, I think it was. So we bought these brand new, never been lived in, 2-bed, 2-bath homes for $44,000. And replacement cost is $125,000. By the time they buy it from the lot, get it on their community, hook it up to city water, city sewer, get awnings, AC units, that cost is easy 125,000, and they still need to make a little money. Well, they ended up selling these properties because they were trying to liquidate their portfolio. They're in the business of owning communities, not owning properties. So it was a win-win situation. So this is one of two 2023 double wides, brand new, all brand new stuff, full warranties, and it's currently pending. This property is pending with one of our sales agents I hired through Business Network International. He's sold upwards of 1.5 million in manufactured home sales through our Spanish speaking strategy. So he speaks Spanish, and there's a big Spanish market. We're touching Mexico here in Arizona. To exclude that conversation would be ill-advised. You know, people need housing and they can qualify. So, you know, what's the details of this property? Lot 216 in Grande, Missouri in the West Valley. This is a family park. So no age restriction, higher value within those communities. But at 97.5, they'll have a $4,000 down payment, have additional $2,000 in closing fees. At 97.5, 4,000 down, just grabbing my Carl's mortgage calculator here. I think I need a sponsorship from them because I give them enough shout out, their free calculator. At an unpaid balance of 93.5 and a 20-year term, $1,162.69, right? And the collateral is unmatched. To find a borrower in a new home, you know, these are really cream of the crop opportunities. The other property we bought in this community, we actually turned it to a 3-bedroom, and we're asking 125. So hopefully we'll get that sold sometime soon. We got a couple more questions in the comment, Catherine. In Mexico, HMP. Not sure what that is, but you know, happy to facilitate our Mexican American individuals in the States here in Arizona. I had someone call actually from Mexico asking if we do stuff in Mexico. We do not. But you know, Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, Apache Junction are all areas that we deem risk mitigated and move to markets, right? So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's move on to number 6 here. This is a 3-2 in South Mountain, actually that kind of South Phoenix market. At 130, it's lot 132, 125 is our price point. At 125, they're putting a $5,000 down payment, have $2,000 in additional closing fees for a 20-year term. That monthly payment's $1,492.22. So $1,492. You're making $15,000 a year in passive cash flow with no banks on this property, as you see. What year is this home? Let me just look at my sheet real quick because I think it's a newer
2002 double wide.
Yeah. So
1,300 square feet, which is huge.
You know, side-by-side carports, got a central AC unit, got all the new looking siding as associated with newer manufactured housing, and did our waterproof laminate flooring, granite, new cabinets. We did a full rehab on this property, tile backsplash, and currently pending double vanity even. To get a property like this for an end user buyer borrower, you know, James, what would a buyer have to pay for a comparable single family property like 132 in South Mountain?
That's probably comparable to easily a $450,000 home in that same area.
So instead, this buyer of paying, what is that? What is a $450,000 purchase with 10% down at 7%? Let me look at that real quick. 450,000. Say they put 20,000 down, which is a low down payment. That's probably a first-time home buyer situation. But at a 7% rate, you know, they're paying $3,300 a month, where the alternative is $1,000 to $1,200 less, and they own a property probably with better finishes than a comparable single family residence. You know, 450, that's still probably used stuff. Where here they're getting brand new finishes and a company that stands behind electrical, plumbing, the roof, and even goes one step further and puts new vanities and tile in these properties. So again, lot 132,
Casa de Francisco.
Casa de Francisco in South Mountain Family Park, 120,000, paying $1,400 a month. That would be a great one to absorb in the fund. I think I need like 50,000 in my fund today to participate in this, as we have the first right of refusal, our construction loan via Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. So in other words, if there's an accredited investor wanting a 10% return for a 1-year term paid monthly, a 12% return for a 3-year term paid quarterly, or potentially a 5-year lockup for 14% return with a service fee established upon inception of investment, those are all immediate opportunities that I'm seeking. We could put a $50,000 to $1 million to work in as little as 30 days and have you start cash flowing. I actually met an investor from Azria, I think about 3 months ago, and we've deployed upwards of $4 million for that individual who we met at our booth at Arizona Real Estate Investors Association and deployed $4 million. That's like $1.2 million a month over 3 months. So to find an operator who actually can deploy capital confidently, it's all fun and games when you go online and find different individuals chefing opportunity. But you know what they do? They go out and look for opportunity when they get people coming to the table. These are deals that I do every month. We'll do 5 to 7 transactions. We've done so over the past 8 years, and there's more than enough business for us to double, triple our deal flow here in the local market without even leaving our desired zip codes. The full staff, the full rehab staff, servicing, compliance, and institutional grade relationships, are how we've cultivated literal private banking, as you see before us. So does anyone have any questions? We went over so much today. Getting the thumbs up in the chat, had the hearts going off. Sonny, do you have anything to add today?
I've given you my best.
So if you haven't had the chance, I put a couple links in the chat. And the objective here is to possibly meet y'all physically at one of these events that we'll be at. If you haven't, sign up at mobilemailboxmoney.com. That gives you first look access at the deal flow that we provide out in the market, even some additional marketing material. I've gotten pretty heavy in artificial intelligence generation of videos. You can see me kind of giving a speech in front of 1,000 people. That is AI, just so you know. That's coming soon, hopefully on a stage near you. But that's mobilemailboxmoney.com. Silvercrest Opportunity Fund is our accredited investment fund. We do pay monthly returns as well as quarterly. And if you click on our credit strategies tab, you can see a little bit more intimacy on how we'll raise $50 million this year. My objective on these meetings is to do real transactions and actually build the trust needed in order to facilitate the capital being infused, deployed, and ultimately income generating in a bank quality investment. I'm Alden Guajardo. I appreciate each and every one of you being here today. If you haven't had the chance, please reach out. I'd love to talk to you personally. I'm going to put my personal cell phone number in the chat here today. If you'd like to save that, I'd love to talk to you personally. You can text or call that number. If you don't see something that you like on our website, we have sales staff that are educated like Sonny and Sean, immediately waiting to talk to you at 602-888-2274. This is the live deal flow market. We do this every week at Thursday, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and we're not deviating from that schedule. So we'll be on here weekly, as well as attending other national note investment conferences, and are implementing our new sponsorship with Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. quick little secret, guys. The owner of Azria is actually running for city council, and that's who we're sponsoring. So to be in adjacence with influential individuals is the difference between a successful program and not. At the end of the day, it's all about who you know, who you can actually transact with, and not lose the money. It's all fun and games trying to earn a 2x equity multiple and things of that nature. But when they go and try to exit, is their capital being lost, or are they actually making money? All areas of challenge and problem currently out in the market. And to find affordability in the asset acquisition, wide variety of diversification, long track record, and institutional relationships, the proof's in the pudding. We appreciate each and every one of you being here today. I'm looking for $1 million right now. Please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you personally. And that's Win Mobile Homes, Mobile Mailbox Money, and Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. You guys have a great day. Bam. That's the mastermind here today. We do this weekly. I'd love to talk to you personally. Got the hair going kind of crazy. We're running around. James was actually out front of the bank earlier doing a transaction, and we're wire ready for people that want to participate in a double-digit interest bearing contract outside rental strategies, complications of owning real estate, and all the above. Y'all have a great day. Tune in next week.